What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and that you have been enjoying the last two games for the Dallas Cowboys. They are undefeated in the all-important month of December. They are 2-0 through their three-game road trip, hopefully getting that third dub on Sunday against the New York Giants. But that game will happen on Sunday. Today is Tuesday, which means it is time for our weekly roundtable here at Blogging the Boys. You can watch us live on the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel. You can, of course, catch the rewatch. Please do subscribe there. You can always listen on the Blogging the Boys podcast network, where you can hear a number, really all of our fantastic voices here. Starting in clockwise order here at the 12 o'clock position, we have Dan Rogers, who you can hear on Tuesdays and Thursdays on Dallas Cowboys Roundup on the Blogging the Boys podcast network. On Twitter at DannyPhantom24. I believe he climbed down the chimney to be on tonight's roundtable based on the background that he has going on. Top right corner, we have the professor, Aidan Davis, done with final exams. So congratulations to you, Aidan. Hardworking student you have been. But nobody cares about that, but everybody cares about your Cowboys takes. Aidan is on Twitter at Aidan1214. That has thrown people off. Today's actually 1214, Aidan. So today is the day of your Twitter handle. Underneath him, we have Tony Catalina, who had a steak and cheese for dinner tonight. Wanted everybody to know. Told me he didn't put any salt or pepper on it, just straight up, no seasoning. Tony sometimes is a salt of the earth kind of guy. On Twitter at Tony_Catalina. In our 6 o'clock position, the OG, the watcher, if we're pertaining to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Spider-Man No Way Home does come out this weekend, of course. Tom Ryle on Twitter at TomRyleBTB. Bottom left, the nicest guy in town. What can we say? You can hear him on Jersey Boys, 2 Minute Warning. You know him all over from Chop Sports, a growing, rising sports empire. It is Dave Sturchio on Twitter at Dave Sturchio. I will start with you, Sturch. What is your favorite thing to eat this time of year? And if you say steak and cheese, you're out of here.
Favorite time to eat this time of year.
Favorite thing to eat. Come on, man.
Favorite thing. Okay, I'm all over the place. All right, it's been a night. Favorite thing to eat this time of year. I don't know. I'm still sticking with my Italian stuff, man. Give me my baked ziti all day long.
Nobody knows what that is.
Oh my God.
Nobody knows what that is. Dan, you are feeling festive. It's a great tree behind you. Does your house have lights on it?
No, it does not.
I'm with you. So don't feel bad.
My tree has lights on it.
What time do you turn the tree off? Like on a given day? Like you going all the way like to bedtime? You got an automatic timer situation? You Kevin McAllister? What's going on?
My wife's in charge of that, and I will say that when it goes off, probably around 10 o'clock, but it doesn't go off every night. I'm sad to admit.
Sorry about that, Dan. Some commenters already joining us. Link Hellfield says baked ziti fi. I think. I don't know, Sturch. That's a you thing.
I don't know what fi means. But...
Carlos Valenzuela says tamales and menudo. I can vouch for that meal. It is incredible. Craig English with a couple of fire emojis. I Bleed Blue 365 says yo. We've got a lot of people ready to discuss how the Cowboys are potentially going to secure the NFC East this weekend. Of course, not a final formality thing. They are already effectively NFC East champions, but they can just about tie a bow on it with a win on Sunday against the Giants, and a loss from Washington would certainly go a long way at helping them. DFW AV Geek 521, by the way, says enchiladas. So some Mexican food, been had. A lot of people had dinner thoughts here, Tony. Pot roast and beer is what Ron Carlton had. Do you, does that cleanse your palate?
Yeah. I don't need them mutually exclusive, but I like them both individually.
Okay. Sadiqa Charles, by the way, Sturge says, at Dave, you are my kind of guy. Hi at Blogging the Boys. You know what? We'll get the night started. 50 points to Sturch in the race for tonight's winner here on the roundtable. Sturch is playing to the crowd. What can you say? Tom, you better step your game up. Tom, I will start with you. Mark Sotelo says victory week. Has it felt like one to you? Because it hasn't to a lot of people.
Yeah. Believe me, we need to celebrate every win, especially, as you said, coming into December when right now the games really count. And there's a ton of teams trying to get into the playoffs. Others are playing for playoff positions. And thank you to the Los Angeles Rams, because all of a sudden, who knows where the Cowboys could wind up in the seating at this point. You know, a lot of things are happening. Understand Aaron Rodgers is having trouble with his toe, so we may be not as stuck in the 4 seed as we think we are. And for that, I am very grateful for the win last Sunday. I wasn't as disappointed in it because I didn't, yeah, they let the football team get a little bit back into it in the end, but I never felt really uncomfortable that they were going to lose that thing.
Aidan, first game for you with finals in the rearview mirror. It's always a comfortable time. You're staying up late. You're, I don't know, you're war zoning, something like that. I mean, it's, well in the rearview mirror for me. So you get to sit back and enjoy and relax and watch your favorite team. Did they deliver in a way that made you feel satisfied?
No, I mean, I think that's the argument. I don't think anybody's really satisfied with this game, but I think it's an argument of how much do you value a win versus how good the team looks. I mean, I'm really, and I'm going to use the word, I'm panicking about the offense because I'm not 100% that they're going to get back to what they once were now. And so, yeah, it wasn't fun to watch, but yet a win's a win.
Dan, do you feel that way? Because a lot of people are harping on the last thing Aidan said. A win is a win. Quit being upset. You guys don't know how to enjoy life. They won. This team won. Why are you poking and prodding at what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, because we want bigger things, and I think that we have to be satisfied on some degree with some of the things that happen. Obviously, a road win against a division rival, that's a big thing. Also, too, we have to be really happy about the way the defense is playing. So while there are areas to be concerned, we definitely we gotta enjoy this a little bit.
Okay. Or we could panic, one way or the other. Tony, you are our resident panicker. Sadiqa Charles says, I'm not panicking. Our offense will be okay. Is the offense going to be okay, Tony? Do you feel that way?
I do feel like there's enough time in the season that they can kind of right the ship a little bit. I mean, obviously, the fact is what it is. I mean, Dak's struggling a little bit. The offense is not clicking for whatever reason, whether it's, they're not on the same page with the wide receivers, or maybe he doesn't trust the protection, or maybe it just is, getting back to the basics of doing, the little things right. And there is a lot to work on, and it's a confusing feeling to be happy about a win, but at the same time concerned about some things with the playoffs down the road. But I do think there's plenty of time, and I do think the talent is there to turn and right the ship.
All right, show of hands. So this is terrible for the podcast audience, but I'll say it out loud because I imagine the answer is 5 or below on a 1. I think that's a retail store, by the way, 5 or below. Thank you for the head nods, everybody. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you grade Dak Prescott's performance since the Broncos game? Again, we're talking a large sample here. It's no longer 1 game, 2 games, whatever. Show of hands. Put your hand up in front of the camera. What you would grade him? Again, I imagine it's if it is higher than 5, you can use 2 hands. Let's see. Dan Rogers is at 5. I'm going to try to go in descending order, as is Tony Catalina. Sturch and Tom are both at 4. Aidan coming in hard off the top rope with the 2. Aidan, I will throw it to you. Dak Prescott has been awful as of late. How unpredictable was this? How surprised should we be? How disappointed should we be? I mean, your overall thoughts on where we're at with Dak Prescott.
So I'll start it off encouraging. Every quarterback goes through a slump. I think as Cowboys fans, we tend to have tunnel vision with this team, but what we're not realizing is Matthew Stafford has had a long stretch where he didn't look good. Josh Allen had a stretch where he didn't look good. Lamar Jackson, up to the injury, didn't look great. And then Patrick Mahomes all season, the Chiefs offense is averaging 23 points when they're not playing the Raiders. And so every quarterback goes through slumps. And so this isn't
Link says this is beyond a slump though, Aidan.
Yeah. And that's what I was getting to. If this continues through the rest of the season, we're not going to beat the Cardinals, which means we're essentially locked into the 4 seed. And then you're playing the Rams in the first round. And I have zero confidence that this team can beat the Rams if the offense doesn't pick up. And so that's how I feel about things.
Dan, you were at a 5. So you have the high. I'm not at a 5, just to be clear. So you have the highest confidence of the group. I mean, I'm not saying you're supremely confident at the moment or feeling great at the moment, but you are seemingly feeling better about this than any of us are. Why? I mean, beyond the fact that Dak has been Dak before. I mean, and I think that's the hope, right? Is everybody's saying if he can just get back to, we had a comment a little while ago from Mark that said if Dak can get back to his old self, hello SoFi, which is obviously where the Super Bowl is this year. Do you think that's possible? Is it possible this is more than a slump, as Link said, Dan?
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, Dak is making some great throws. I don't look at Dak as a liability. I mean, this last game was as close as that as he's been, but to me, I still think Dak plays well for parts of the game, so I don't think he's terrible. But I guess the big thing is obviously there's something wrong with Dak, and that needs to be corrected. Otherwise, we do got big problems because the Cowboys aren't going to be able to win playoff games with Dak playing like this. But I mean, I don't think he's just been playing absolute trash. He plays well at times. The Cowboys do well at times. It's just that he's having some consistency issues. And to me, I think it's all about the calf. And I do think he can get there, and we still got time.
Sturch, I would say that the Washington performance was the most trash-like that Dak has been. If you ever wanted to call a performance of his trash, I mean, that would be the one, I think. Certainly, near he was, I can't remember a time Dak was the reason the Cowboys either lost or almost lost, like was the case a couple of days ago. Where are you at, Sturch?
I was at a 4. And it stats don't lie, and he hasn't been lighting up the scoreboard, and he has been making some real tough decisions when you're looking at it from afar as a fan or a member of the media. That interception, that pick six, the one that he basically placed in the linebacker's chest. It just, and for him to say he didn't see him, or somebody said he didn't see him, and I was just like, man, that's a piss poor excuse for that or reasoning behind that. But I know the ability is there. You know what I mean? We all know the ability is there. We all saw what he started to do in the beginning of this season. We all said the ankle's behind him. He's lighting up the scoreboard. He's got the air under the ball. He's doing his thing. Jerry Jones went on record today and said, it's fair to say it's a slump, right? And when your owner comes out and says that, I know that Dak is going to do the Jordan, right, and say, I took that personally. I think this is the fire that he needs, and I think this Giants team is the opponent that he needs to get right, to get flowing again, and to just keep making strides towards getting better and getting back to his normal self. Because, look, we all saw what Justin Herbert just did, you know what I mean? And I know for a fact, and I'm in my heart of hearts, I think that Dak Prescott is a better quarterback than Justin Herbert. So if he gets right, it's going to be this week. I was panicked over the last couple weeks, but I firmly believe that, again, I'm the first one to ride and die with Dak Prescott. I'm the last one that's going to say, it's all about Dak Prescott. This is a team game. And if you watched some of the clips that they showed on the pregame speech, he's got this team behind him. You saw the fight they put up, Zeke and Collins fighting for their guy. They're all still believe in Dak Prescott. And I think it's time for Cowboys Nation to just kind of say, all right, you know what? This is a bad one. This is a bad slump. It's a bad stretch of games. But here we are. We have 1 month of football to play. And I think he corrects everything.
Tom, kind of spinning off of that, because I trust your words more than anybody in the world on any subject, to be frank. We have reached a point. This is something I've been saying over the last couple of days on some different shows. We reached some point between Dak's injury and now where if you criticize him at all, it's you didn't believe. You get out of here. You were never on board with this, whatever. He's reached, and we do that, right? We elevate people as Cowboys fans, and we put them in this sort of untouchable zone where we're willing to make up for them. And some of those makeups are justified and some of them are a little bit friendly. And nobody has come out, publicly at least, and put any responsibility on Dak. Mike McCarthy's always kind of, I don't want to say fallen on the sword, but he's gone to bat for his guy. Every teammate, to Sturch's point, goes to bat for Dak Prescott. Jerry Jones is kind of the first guy today, I want to through the fan to put some accountability on Dak Prescott. I kind of think that that's a little bit necessary at this point.
Yeah, and we're all at the mercy of Dak. What's going on seems to be happening between the ears with him right now. As Dave Halpern put in an article, it's like if he has too much time, he starts overthinking. He starts tightening up with his throws or something, maybe they need to just come out and run him up tempo for a few series and get him back to where he's making faster throws.
And he's best at 2-minute warnings. Shout out to the show 2-minute warning, by the way.
Yeah, and I would love to see them get right against the Giants because, as was mentioned, it's a great game for them to get good because I don't think the Giants are much of a threat. I think the Cowboys defense is going to eat them alive, and it's kind of bad because we're at the mercy of Dak getting right at this moment, and there's nothing that anybody can do about it except really, I think, him with some help from Kellen Moore maybe calling a smarter game plan because let's face it, Kellen Moore has been off his game for a bit, and I don't know why. So we're going to have to just wait and see and accept that we can't do anything about it and hope that they can pull it out. Worst case scenario, maybe he can do an Eli Manning and
Tom,
have a deep playoff run, even though he's not playing at the top of his game.
Tom, that is sacrilege, and we're not going to do that again.
Awful analogy to point to Eli Manning as a source of optimism, Tom. Just,
Yeah. But you can ride
negative 64 points for Tom. So,
but they could ride this defense a long way, and Dak just has to get playing average, I think, and this team can go a ways.
Tony, we have a cry for help. First of all, a big thank you to Jaime Vasquez for the super chat tonight. Jaime, you rule. Thank you for being part of the stream. But Tony, we'll put this on your shoulders. Jaime says, I've always been a Dak stan. Is he trending to Romo or Wentz? Losing confidence by the week. Help out Jaime, Tony.
What?
It's to me, I always look at the way, Dak is played. I mean, historically, we've always talked about the Cowboys, and at least during his era, that even if everything was going wrong, Dak Prescott was always the one that could, give us a fighting chance. He was always the one that found a way to keep us in games that we had no business being in. Like, Dak Prescott has been the source of points. He's been the source of feel good, honestly, from the rest of the team. Everybody kind of looks at him like he's a bona fide leader. He's a top tier quarterback in my eyes, and I think many of us would agree with that. I mean, I think it might have been Aidan. I don't know exactly who it was, but mentioned that every quarterback has had a little slump, had a little run. I mean, this is just how it goes. I mean, for once we have a breath of fresh air. We could say Dak can figure it out and has a defense that are going to keep us in games. As long as he's not doing the type of interceptions he did it late in the Washington game, we're going to have a fighting chance against anybody just by the way this defense is playing. And I can say that I have full confidence he's going to turn this around. But the only time I ever had a little bit of worry in my pit of my stomach was the look on his face after that pick. After that pick six, they panned to him on the sideline. It just looked like a deer in the headlights type of look. And I'm just like, I've never seen that from Dak Prescott before. It's almost kind of like, where'd this kid come from? Like, how did I? And I know he's going high to low. I know it was a play they hit early on in the game, and he was looking CD first, and then when it get down to his progression, the window closed on him quick. But I haven't seen that from Dak. So as a whole, I think they're going to get to a game plan. Him and Kellen Moore, you both have a lot to prove over the last month or two. They've both had their own issues and transgressions. I could just see it to answer the viewer's question. We don't have to worry about that. Dak is gonna, right the ship because history has shown us that he is able to make plays, and this is, this is more the exception than the rule as far as his career has been.
I think that's well said. Great job responding with help, Tony. You could be an EMT in a different life, certainly. Red Solo Cup from Tony tonight. Big night for Tony Catalina. You know what? 50 points for Tony. It's a generous night. Season of giving. We have a question here, Aidan, from Nicholas Azadian, who says, so question, what makes you feel better? A win over the Giants, a blowout, another one over the team with no name. When do we feel better? I don't know. I'm sure you do, Aidan, if you know the answer to that, but I would like you to maybe try to help people feel better from a diagnosis standpoint. I think the first step towards feeling better is understanding what the issue is. Dan said he believes it's the calf. Obviously, that's kind of the intersection of where things have changed for him this season. But Aidan, as he always does, worked up something fantastic for us at Blogging the Boys. Tom, you mentioned Dave Halprin, the godfather of Blogging the Boys, wrote about it at the site. Everybody can go check it out at bloggingtheboys.com. But if you're with us now, or if you're catching the rewatch, if you're listening to the podcast, I would encourage you to jump to the video so Aidan can explain this. This is about the 20-minute mark, just to help you out as far as fast forwarding is concerned. Aidan, go ahead. The floor is yours.
So there is encouragement in that we obviously have been piling on to Dak lately, and rightfully so.
None of us have been piling on, to be clear.
But to be fair, the offense hasn't been giving him much help. So what we know, and you can read this mostly from Dave's article, is great, and he contextualizes it perfectly. Teams aren't blitzing Dak anymore. The average blitz percentage from the bye week was 37%, is now fallen to about 18%. It got to as low as during the Saints game, it was like 4%. So teams aren't blitzing Dak anymore. And somehow they're getting pressures, 4 more pressures a game than what we saw before the bye week. So that means that the offensive line isn't helping him out because their teams aren't sending a blitz, and they're still getting to Dak. And then you get to the receivers, the drop pass percentage has gone from 2.5% before the bye week, and now it's at 1 out of every roughly 10 passes are being dropped by his receivers. So the offensive line isn't giving him much help. His receivers aren't giving him much help. We know that the run game's also not giving him much help. But then you also get to the fact that Dak overall is less accurate. His deep ball is less accurate. His completion percentage after the play action pass is less accurate. His overall passing ability is less accurate. And the issue is that he's not throwing it as deep. So it would be more justifiable if Dak was airing it out every play and he wasn't as accurate. But he's actually getting more conservative. His yards per attempt has dropped by about 2 yards per every attempt. And so it's worrisome from Dak's perspective, from what Dak's doing, but the offense around him isn't doing much to help him out either.
Dan, how do you feel? Do you feel better? Michael D says in the comment section, thank you, this whole offense is off. It's not only Dak. I think we all would have agreed with that, by the way. But does this, I mean, you're going to sleep better tonight, Dan? You know, do you feel indifferent? I mean, how do you feel?
Well, I think there are multiple things going on. For me, I think that, when it comes to the calf, I really think that Dak does not want to miss any games. He does not want to re-injure his calf. So I think there's a lot to be said for how he's playing without putting extra weight. I mean, honestly, with a pick, for example, I think a healthy Dak makes that throw off his back foot to Schultz with no problem. But I think that teams are, after the Denver game, teams are realizing that, we could actually challenge him. And so you're seeing different things happen. And honestly, it's really just going to come down with Dak, getting confidence. If you look at, one of his best throws was when he thought he had a free play, when Biotish had that worm burner snap to him and he just picked it up and launched it to, I think it was Gallup. So, I mean, I think when Dak starts to realize that, he can trust his calf and starts, just believing in himself, that I think some of these things will go away.
I like the optimism that you guys share. Mitchell Green, by the way, says, are you really going to blame Dak for 4 times as many drops? To your point, Aidan, not getting any help. Okay, you guys might have seen me writing something down as Dan was finishing his answer. Dan, I was totally listening, but I was preparing myself for our next and final segment. Not that we're about to get out of here early, but I'm kind of surprising everybody here, including our fantastic and handsome panelists, because I did prep them for something else, but I am, of course, incorporating a bit of a twist. So the question at hand, and I would like our commenters to be ready for this, is which 3 Cowboys do you trust the most? All of these guys should have done their homework and come up with a list of 3, but they should have also known that, like Big Brother, like Survivor, like The Amazing Race, you expect the unexpected. So The twist tonight, gentlemen, is that we are going to draft these players. So when one player is taken, they cannot be taken once again. I have determined an order by random draw, and by that I mean I just made it up off the top of my head. So, Sturch, you will be going first. We're moving you around. Dan, you will be going second. We're moving you around. Aidan, you will be going third. Thank you for being there. Tony, you will be going fourth. Tom, you are at the caboose because you had the bad answer a little while ago, so it's really your fault for messing that up. Dan, you have your hand raised.
I have a question. Are we drafting for 2021 only?
Yeah, we're talking right now. I mean, just the state of the team right now. But the final twist for Tony and Tom cussing me out there at the back of the line is we are snaking this thing around. So, Tom, you get to double up and come back. Tony, you get to not quite double up, but you get my point. So, Aidan, you're right in the middle. Perfect spot to be. You're welcome, Professor. All right. Everybody understand the rules. Anybody have any questions like Dan did? That was a great job. 30 points to Dan, by the way, for the question. No, everybody's good. Great podcasting happening here, guys. Sturch, you have the lead as far as points for tonight to be tonight's winner. Who is the Dallas Cowboy you trust the most? Remember, be strategic because you're not picking for a while here.
Oh, then I'm going to pick the one guy that's probably worth right now more than the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 picks, and that's Micah Parsons. I mean, like,
Micah Parsons, okay.
100%. Like he's the obvious leader on this team. He's now in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year. He's a game wrecker. He's fast. His motor never stops. Like this is the guy that's going to make everybody around him better. Meaning, when you have a good rush on that quarterback, those corners they don't have to cover as long. Those linebackers can get better assignments. Like Micah Parsons is the reason why this defense has gelled so fast, and he's a rookie, and that's the craziest part about all this.
It's a great pick, Sturch. I think it's the pick. I think he's the best player on the team right now. By the way, our loyal viewers, you are going to help me decide who wins tonight. All right, that's what's going to happen. You're going to help me decide. After we're done, we'll put everybody's list together. You can grade, you can make fun of, you can do whatever you want. We will decide who tonight's winner is. Sturch off to a great start with Micah Parsons. Dan Rogers on Twitter at DannyPhantom24, the question asker. Who is the Dallas Cowboy that you trust the most that is not Micah Parsons?
Well, since Sturch stole the pick.
Oh,
what do you mean stole?
Yeah.
It was his right.
I know.
Dan,
it's
if you don't watch it, I'll bump Tom up and I'll kick you all the way to the end here. So
No. I'm going to go with the player that would have been number one probably a month ago for the last 3 seasons. And I'm going to say Zach Martin. I mean, as far as trust goes, I mean, you could always count on Martin to play at a high level. He's extremely good at what he does. Health-wise, it is, he is older and now he is getting hurt more, but the guy is extremely tough. I mean, he was back out there on Sunday even after getting hurt. So in Zach, I trust. Okay.
So we've got Micah Parsons. We've got Zach Martin off the board. Everybody's answers are being recorded. Nobody panic. These are great picks. Link does say, Dan, Zach's health is just questionable. Does that affect your answer? You factoring that in?
Yeah. I mean, I am, but he's out there. He plays. I mean, everybody's health almost is questionable except for all these younglings. But he's so good that it's. I mean, I wouldn't take him over Micah.
Okay. Well said. All right, Aidan, you are up. Micah Parsons, Zach Martin off the board.
Yeah, I'm asking a late question. So we are taking into account health and how much we trust him to get through the season?
Normally, I would penalize somebody for a late question, but that's a really good one. Yes, we are. We're factoring in all the overall picture as far as who they are. Who do you trust?
All right. If we take into account health, I'm doing it. I'm taking Amari Cooper. I know.
Wow.
I know every.
Might have gotten him on the turn, Aidan. That's a bold pick.
I know, but here's the thing. Everybody, I bet the comments all going to say you should have taken CD. CD's the guy, of course. Well, Amari Cooper, in my opinion, has been a much better receiver than CD this year. He's just not getting the credit on social media that CD is. In terms of passer rating when targeted, Amari's having the best season of his career at 128. CD's down at 91.1. He has one drop on the year, the sole drop coming in against the Broncos. He's sure-handed. He gets yards after the catch. I think Amari Cooper has been amazing this year, and I think CD's overshadowed him. So I'm taking Amari.
You know what, Aidan? This is such a great pick. I would say we have all, but I've been the only one. All you criminals have tried to trade Amari Cooper, have tried to cut Amari Cooper. It only costs $6 million in the offseason to move on from him. We'll pay him Michael Gallup, whatever. He's quiet. Who cares? He disappears on the road. 38 points for Aidan, because 38 is 19 times 2. And so 19 for Amari, 19 for Aidan. Great job there, Aidan.
And you take into account the fact that Amari Cooper's really always on the field. He's going to play throughout, so...
Jaime says CD dropping passes as of late. I believe Blue 365 does say A+ pick for you, Aidan. So great job. Again, I got to be honest, maybe not the wisest way to play in this game. I do think he might have been there on the way back, unless Tony or Tom are of the same line of thinking. Maybe they are. Who knows? Tony, what do you got? Micah Parsons, Zach Martin, Amari Cooper off the board.
I'm going to go with the leader of the defense. I'm going to go with somebody that we miss severely and somebody that I trust every time he's on the field. I don't care what the social media says. DeMarcus Lawrence. He's somebody that gives you 100% effort all the time. Aidan's the analytical numbers guy. He'll tell you, and I think he has told us exactly what he brings to this defense. I don't care about the sack numbers. He's averaging damn near six pressures a game at this point. Nobody plays the run game like him. And beyond a freak accident that happened in practice, this guy would be an absolute monster on this defense. The fact that he's out there now at the perfect time for the home stretch, I trust him to make sure that if this defense even feels themselves a little bit too much, he's going to get everybody in line. And he's just the exact mental chip that I want on that defense. And he just brings that edge.
Does anybody think it's silly? I don't. That Tony picked somebody who's played 3 games this season.
Not at all. Not at all.
Not at all. You're gonna go to bat for your what is it? Penne whiskey guy or whatever.
Eyes on.
So you agree, Sturch? You're saying DeMarcus Lawrence is worthy of a top 4 pick.
I love what Tank brings to the field, man. Like you said, the sack numbers are not always there, and people always harp on that. But like when he's on the field, he makes everybody better, man. He just takes the pressure off the rest, which I'm assuming, within the next 2-3 picks, the other guy's gonna go. You know what I mean? So like that defensive line is star driven when Lawrence is on the field.
Nicholas Aidan with a great point here on the stream says we're not talking about who's better, but who do we trust more.
Okay,
Tony, I don't want to speak for you, Tony, but I have to believe that was a factor in your decision.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, when he's out there, he is just absolutely the heart and soul of that defense, and I love everything he brings. It was an easy pick for me.
Okay, Tom, you are up. And I want to be clear here, Tom, because you obviously have back-to-back picks, but who you pick first is a first-round pick. All right, who you pick second is not. So, I mean, be careful here because you're putting somebody in an exclusive club and you're leaving somebody out of it. We have Micah Parsons, Zach Martin, Amari Cooper, DeMarcus Lawrence off the board. Where are you going and why?
Well, based on what they've done this year and kind of quietly, some people are noticing it, but some people are overlooking it. I'm going with Jayron Kearse. He has been outstanding as a safety and just has solidified the secondary so much. Best safety the Cowboys had in 2 decades or more, and at a bargain price. I mean, the guy is just playing lights out. People are not really throwing in his direction when he's doing coverage. He's coming up and making plays at the line, and he hasn't missed a snap as far as I know. He is just doing incredibly well. And if you want to say somebody's going to show up and give us a good game, Jayron Kearse is right there with anybody.
First of all, Tom, comment of the night here might have come from Cowboys win. Said Tom is about to say Cooper Rush. So that did not happen. So that we are very clear, the first round, gentlemen, Micah Parsons, Zach Martin, Amari Cooper, DeMarcus Lawrence, Jayron Kearse. Dan, who are you most surprised is on this list?
Jayron.
Oh,
to me, that's a reach.
Oh,
it's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off.
Why is, I mean, to be fair, he has 2 picks in a row, but But to your point, Dan, he put J-Ron in this club. Tom did that in full sound mind. He did this.
J-Ron deserves to be on the list as we get done, but I don't think he deserves to be ahead of
Others.
some other guy.
Aidan, who are you? And I know you have to be strategic here, Aidan, not show your cards, but who are you most surprised is not on this list?
Oh, you're giving stuff away.
Yeah, that's almost tipping his pick. I don't.
Hey
think
guys,
Yeah,
hey, why don't you do the
it's
answering and the
Leighton Vander Esch.
analyzing? I'll do the hosting and the jumping around. All right.
Yeah, I definitely think it's Leighton Vander Esch, and that should be Tom's next pick.
Nicely done.
Nah,
Nicely
I-
done.
Well played, Aidan.
I think we all know there's one guy will probably be taken next by Tom.
Okay,
Maybe not.
Probably not.
No guarantee.
Tom,
Yeah.
Cam Kayanta, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. Cam says curse is a tone setter. There is value, and I think you're right, Tom. We all agree with you. He's underrated, perennially underrated. He is, worth far more than I think the average Cowboys fan is willing to give him as far as a line of credit is concerned. This is a little bit of a reach, though. But you know what? It is the holiday season, Tom. What you did, you just baked a big old case of cookies, and you took them to J-Ron Curse. So good for you, Tom. I'm proud of you. Who's your second pick, and why?
Yeah, I'm once again, I think I'm going in a different direction than a lot of people here. I'm going on offense, and I'm saying Dalton Schultz. If you want a guy that you can depend on every game to come in. What's wrong, Dave?
Unsung heroes here. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, you asked the question specifically, who do you trust? I trust Dalton Schultz to show up, to play his game, to be a reliable target for Dak, to get the job done. I love the guy, and that's my second pick.
As long as they don't ask him to block, Schultz is the guy. Right?
If we were drafting the most surprising players of this year, Tom would be killing it.
Tom, it's a rough night for you on the
boy.
stream, man. But you know what, Tom? Right now, you're the guy in, my cousin very, very infamously in our fantasy league of record took Felix Jones with his first round pick one year. Right now, it's kind of who you are. You know what I mean? Now that it didn't work out for him. Hopefully, it does for you. But interesting strategy to say the least. So, Tom, your picks so far. We have let's see here. I'm getting the banner here properly set. We're now at the point where you guys, or Tom at least, has multiple. You have J-Ron Curse and Dalton Schultz. I would have never put this together as a possible combination by anybody.
No.
Not with their first and second round picks at least.
Tony's about to clean up on the defensive line. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Tony. Hit him with it.
Tony, Tom, finish it up.
Yeah, I'm leaning on health too, because there's some people I would have picked, except for the fact they've missed a bunch of games.
Okay. All right. That's fair. Tom does not grade on a curve. We'll put it that way. Tony, you are up. You took DeMarcus Lawrence in the first round. Just so you know, Tony, J-Ron Curse and Dalton Schultz are off the board. I'm sorry about that.
To kind of set this up, I feel like Minnesota, after the Eagles took Jalen Reagor and left Justin Jefferson there. So,
oh my God.
So I'm sitting there, I'm
Wow.
laughing at him, and I'm going to go and get the other side, Randy Gregory. It's a no-brainer. And now I got two guys who changed the complexion of this defense. I trust them wholeheartedly. Randy Gregory needs to get paid. This is the year we've always thought Randy Gregory could have. If it wasn't for COVID or some of these things, who knows what, his numbers could have been and his injury. But man, when he's out there, he is a bona fide game wrecker. And I feel real good about my two picks, honestly.
First of all, to put a cap, maybe a nightcap on Tom's answer, Cowboys win. Tom says Tom is loaded on eggnog. Hey, it is what it is. Cowboys win also says Randy will get paid. Tony, I think we are all hoping that it is by the Dallas Cowboys. Dan, your thoughts? Are you pissed that Randy did not make it back to you?
Well, a little bit, because that's who I was targeting since J-Ron's off the board. But I don't know. I'll tell you if I'm pissed after Aidan makes his pick.
Okay, Sturch, you called this. You were the Mel Kiper of this exercise. You said this was going to happen. You said he's going to get both ends. I mean, I got to be honest with you. Tony's list looking pretty stout right now. I mean, in DeMarcus Lawrence and Randy Gregory.
Must be what's in the red cup. You know,
Nicely done. Okay, well done. Just so everybody is aware, so we're staying on track. Tony's picks are in fact DeMarcus Lawrence and Randy Gregory, so good for him. Aidan, you took Amari Cooper in the first round. Who are you going with your second pick and why?
I'm gonna go with the guy who was a defensive player of the year candidate before the recent weeks. I'm going Trayvon Diggs. I feel like that's somewhat easy. I mean, leading the NFL
Whose
in
side? Somebody side on this. Whose
that
side?
sounded like a phantom sigh.
Danny's side.
Okay, Aidan, state your case.
I mean,
Danny was an exasperated side. I see what's happening here. Okay, go for it, Aidan.
I mean, what he proved last week is if he wants to play tight coverage, he can absolutely do it. He's going to be opportunistic, completely change the complexion of the game. I mean, look at the Patriots. That's what I'll say. Look at the Patriots game is so much more different if Trayvon Diggs doesn't get that pick six late in the game. And so, I mean, what else? He's played every game. He's consistently showing up, making plays, playing tight coverage against Terry McLaurin, 0 receptions. I mean, it was an easy pick for me.
Yeah. First of all, the reason this exercise is fun is as Cam notes, it is the best part is that they all play on the Cowboys defense, right? Like we're making fun of Tom for Jaron Curse, but the reality is every player here is on the team that we all care for and love. Aidan, I will challenge you. Not that I disagree with the pick, but Diggs has been, I don't want to say inconsistent, but of the superstars, and I realize we're deeper into this exercise. He has had his moments, I guess is a nice way to put it here. So, I mean, do you feel like this is part of the value of this pick? Are you willing to overlook that? Because the conventional Cowboys fan would say, well, he's hit or miss. So how can you trust hit or miss?
I mean, he wasn't anybody else considering in the first round, but I mean, you can only get so consistent as a player before you turn into like Micah Parsons, who is showing up every week. And so like every player is going to have his down weeks. And sure, Trayvon Diggs had a couple of bad games, but point me to a game where he's like really like, oh, Trayvon Diggs, he was an absolute liability. They couldn't throw it to him. He wasn't defending anything. That's all I'll say.
Okay, that was a good defense as well, and good job by you. All right, so Dan, so far this second round has gone Dalton Schultz, Randy Gregory, Trayvon Diggs. You took Zach Martin with your first round pick, and you got to be strategic here. You got to take somebody who you think Sturch is going to get because he's got 2 picks coming back the way around. So where are you going, Dan, and why?
No, I mean, I know recency bias is a big thing, but I mean, I can't believe that we have all fallen out of love with Dak Prescott. I mean, I still trust Dak Prescott. I mean, I'm not letting him go any further. So as bad as things have been, I mean, he's going to lead us to our Super Bowl. When it happens, he's going to lead us to our Super Bowl. Now, I believe that Dak's going to get right. And he's, without question, my pick. That's the big sigh right there.
What is your response to the people who are saying you picked Dak so that your 2 picks would rhyme with Zach and Dak?
That's, I like to rhyme my picks. I would say that's maybe 5% of it.
All right, okay. You mentioned it, Dan. Does it say more about us as Cowboys fans or about Dak that it took until the 9th pick for him to go?
No, it says more about us. I mean, because the first part of the season did happen. I mean, we're not just talking about this as if the games from the bye is our season. So and also other seasons have happened. Dak Prescott is a great quarterback. I mean, does anybody not agree with that? I mean, he's a great quarterback. He's not playing great right now, but I mean, we can't forget about how good, he is. I'll tell you what, and this is one thing that we're really not even talking about, is when he does get right, what is this going to mean? Because the defense is good now. So, I mean, we all know that we live and die with the play of Prescott, but when he gets himself right, it's going to be a great time for Cowboys Nation.
Tony, Tom, I am sorry, but with the exceptions of Tom's picks, are you surprised that anybody else went ahead of Dak Prescott? Micah Parsons, Zach Martin, Amari Cooper, DeMarcus Lawrence, Randy Gregory, Trayvon Diggs.
No, I understand it. I think each panelist had a valid point to each and every one of them. I thought it was unrealistic that he would get back to me in the third round, but Dak Prescott was who I bullet pointed in the top, my third round pick, and to think that he went where he did, I think it is a little recency bias, right? Because I do trust Dak Prescott. I do think that he's somebody that until this point we could lean on him to be the only one that seemed to get the ball rolling offensively, to mask the defense's issues that have been there for a few years. So I'm not really surprised because of the way the defense has been playing. And this year it just happens to be that. But I think it's great value for Dan.
All right. Congratulations to you, Dan. You got a compliment from Tony Catalina. Everybody in the world is looking for that. Sturch, you got 2 picks. So, you're the first one to complete their set here. You've got Micah Parsons. Where do you want to go?
Well, I mean, we've been talking offense and defense, respectively, both ways, except for the picks of Tom. And I'm not knocking Tom's picks. I just think where they were picked. I love Dalton Schultz and I love J-Ron Curtis. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's just where they were picked makes me a little uneasy. However, I'm going to go. We're talking Dak Prescott. We're talking Amari Cooper. This season has been up and down because of injury, but there's a guy I trust on the Dallas Cowboys for a long, long time.
Don't do it, Sturch.
And I'm going to pick Ezekiel Elliott as a guy that I trust in the long stretch. When this weather gets colder, we are going to absolutely need the running game to get going. And when I say get going, I mean all surfaces of this running game, meaning pick up the blitz, meaning catch the ball out of the backfield, meaning just go to bat for your guy. Last week, Ezekiel Elliott earned more respect. I've always had respect for Ezekiel Elliott, but when he literally went up to another lineman and tried to fight him for Dak Prescott, that's the guy I want to trust. That's the guy that I want in my little, my team here, my war room. That's the guy I want. Ezekiel Elliott will get it right. He's already showed a little bit more burst. We've talked about this on multiple podcasts. There was a little bit more burst in this last game after the 10-day rest. I think that gets even better.
Does anybody disagree with this pick? You can raise your hand if you want to. Aidan does. Aidan, let's go.
Can we wait to my second pick or no?
No, we're finishing the second round, Sturch. We're tying a bow on the round, All
right.
I think I trust Ezekiel completely. I don't know if taking Tony Pollard there. I think at this point to consistently gain yards, I think I'd trust Tony Pollard a little bit more than Ezekiel Elliott, but I mean, you're splitting hairs, so
you're not going to believe. Hey, Aidan, you're not going to believe this, but I got another pick.
Oh, Nicholas Aidan says, good defense of the pick. I'm okay with it. You did defend it rather well, Sturch. The second round here, it went in order. This started with Tom. Dalton Schultz, Randy Gregory, Trayvon Diggs, Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott. Who does anybody want to say who they think the best pick of the round was? If it wasn't your own, anybody particularly proud of or jealous of somebody's pick?
Randy Gregory.
Tony. All right, Tony won the round. Good for you, Tony Catalina. Okay, so this is our final round. Everybody's going to put together their final piece of their triplets, their 3 Dallas Cowboys that they trust the most. We've been drafting, obviously. So, Sturch, you have Micah Parsons, you have Ezekiel Elliott. You are all Big Ten. Where are you going with your final pick and why?
The guy that every time he steps on the field, there's a big play, ability, big play, explosive plays. Aidan just alluded to it. I'm a big running backs guy. I'm going Tony Pollard. I'll take 2 running backs here, okay? Because Tony Pollard, every time he steps onto the field, he's a game changer, okay? The defenses, for whatever reason, it's been 13 games already, and except for the one he just missed. So 12 games of Tony Pollard, you still can't figure him out because when he's on there, he's slick. He's explosive. He's the best complementary back in the game right now. There is not another running back that can come in off the sidelines as your RB2 that is better than Tony Pollard right now. Some can argue that he's RB1. I don't go that far because I think Ezekiel Elliott does a lot more, does the blocking better, does different things of the running back position should be able to do. He does that better. Tony Pollard is my guy. I'm rounding out. Micah Parsons is the king of our defense, and that running game will dictate how good the passing game can go. So give me Zeke and give me Pollard.
You know what, Sturch? I think this is the best value pick. All due respect to Tony's pick of Randy Gregory. I mean, to get Tony Pollard this late, given where, obviously Tony has come and been and what he's done so far this season. Nicholas does say old school, 2 running backs, 1 linebacker. I love it. So you are kind of, tried and true football type of pick. I believe Blue 365 Sturge says plantar fasciitis is scary though. Does that fact, because again, the exercise is who do you trust?
Mm-hmm.
Does this scare you, or is it a matter of, hey, it's the 3rd round, I got to pick somebody?
Well, no, it's a slight tear, right? And I think that being that Tony Pollard was almost a game time decision, I know he wasn't a game time decision. We kind of got the illusion already, or the idea that he wasn't going to play based off Ito Smith signing, based off calling up Hardy. Like the writing was on the wall that he wasn't going to go. But down the stretch, he's going to get in there. He'll fix it in the offseason. This is the kind of guy that you want on the field. The Cowboys know how valuable he is in whether it be running back, kick return, so there's a lot of different things that this guy does well. And I think that, look, everybody takes a shot at halftime if you need it. It's there for you. There is pain management. This will get done. Tony Pollard will still be the guy that he's been all year.
Sturch in the lead for best group, I think. Dan, you have Zach Martin, Dak Prescott. I don't think there's another name that rhymes with that, if I'm being totally honest with you. But, I'm sure you've tried to come up with one. So where are you going?
So I'm going to go with the guy that everybody thought was going to have the big breakout season this year and just tore it up in training camp. And while that breakout season hasn't happened, I still think he's playing at a high level, and my pick's going to be CeeDee Lamb.
Okay. I mean, he is a hard player to trust right now. I think we all love him, but we all have a difficult time trusting him.
Yeah, I know there's been some drops, but I mean, when you look at what else is on the board, I still think that he's earned my trust, more than some other guys. So I mean, CeeDee Lamb is still, an explosive receiver, a big playmaker. So, and I think that once our offense gets a little bit figured out, that Lamb's he'll be the guy that everybody's really happy about down the stretch.
Tom, about a month ago when we did this roundtable, we talked about Cowboys who have kind of been the most disappointing so far this season. And not to shine a light on myself, but I said, and I did say there was some context that was necessary relative to expectation. I threw CeeDee Lamb's name out there. He has not turned into the 88 god that, as Dan at training camp, it was like, it's happening. It's taking off. It's coming to fruition. That has not happened. And that is pretty disappointing, Tom.
Yeah, it is, because we had such high hopes, and the visions of the trio of wide receivers going out there and dominating hasn't happened. How much of that is Dak's struggles, how much is on the player, I don't know, but yeah, we really were looking for more this year.
Well, all the best to CeeDee. Let's see him prove everybody wrong. Let's see him make Dan the genius for landing him in the 3rd round here. Okay, Aidan, you are up next. You have Amari Cooper, you have Trayvon Diggs. So you've got a wide receiver, you've got a DB. There's still a lot of interesting options out there. Where are you going to go to round out your particular 3?
Yeah, this one I was really hoping would get to me in the 3rd round. I'm going to take a guy that includes Micah Parsons, Randy Gregory, Trayvon Diggs, DeMarcus Lawrence. I'm gonna take Dan Quinn. If I'm gonna say a little bit of a cheat. Allowed.
Look at Aidan making up rules.
It's which Dallas Cowboy do you trust?
Aidan, I'm gonna put it to a vote whether or not this is allowed to pass.
I think we should allow it, but he has to play.
That's a great point.
Don't get me wrong, man. Don't get me wrong. If that was the case, we'd all say Dan Quinn is the reason why a lot of this stuff has been going down. So if that was allowed, I think he would have been a early second, late first. Okay, so he wouldn't have fallen all the way to the 3rd round.
You just tried to sneak in an offensive lineman and have him report as eligible and tried to throw a touchdown to him, and everybody's wondering what the heck's going on. I applaud the effort and the endeavor, but I'm going to ask you to reconsider and come up with somebody who puts on a uniform when the Cowboys play football games.
All right.
You had 4 votes against you. What do you know?
Sorry,
I know. It said Dallas Cowboy. Okay, I was kind of expecting this. I'm going to hesitantly say Tyron Smith. I'm not, since we're going for the rest of the year, that's what makes me hesitant. But the rest of the year does include playoffs, and depending on how many playoff games there are, He's going to be playing in them, presumably. I don't know if we have an update yet. We just know he's not going to play next week. When he's on the field, he's right next to Zach Martin as the most consistent player week in and week out. He's not going to allow anything. So the issue is that he doesn't consistently stay on the field like Zach Martin. And so there's a reason he fell to the third round. I'm going to take Tyron Smith. I think he's the second best lineman we have, and he has been one of the best for so many years now. Just trouble staying on the field. So that's who I'm going to go. Since you guys didn't let me take Dan Quinn.
Sturch, it was pointed out earlier in the exercise that this is an exercise of who do you trust, not who's the best. Do you think Aidan panicked because we didn't allow the Dan Quinn thing? Do you think that Tyron's a fair pick? Again, the word trust is a very difficult one to associate with Tyron Smith these days.
I don't listen. I said it on my Twitter in most of my 1,000 tweets during a football game. I said next year you draft left tackle because you can't trust the health of Tyron Smith. He is, when he's on the field, he's one of the most dominant left tackles in football. He is a Hall of Famer. I think you're going to put a jacket on this guy when it's all said and done. But unfortunately, I can't trust him to stay healthy. Every time he hits the ground, every time, I hold my breath. I said, please get up. Just please get up. That's alarming. So it's very hard to trust him pound for pound. Yes, he's the man. He's actually a first rounder if it's skill wise, right? When he's in there, he's the man. But to trust his health, I think Aidan panicked a little bit. I think he he felt the gun to his head and he said, Hideki Matsui. If anybody gets that reference, that'll be great. But he just basically said Tyron Smith on a whim, just quick.
We're deep in this exercise. I mean, this is the 13th player picked. You're starting. You don't have 13 players that you can totally sleep well at night, which means you don't have 14. So Tony, Catalina, it's going to be tough for you to come up with somebody. But your first two picks make your overall group shine a whole lot. Who you got as your final pick, Tony?
So either y'all are going to understand my point or perspective on this, or I'm going to get smoked for it. So I'm saying Brian Anger. I trust this guy, right?
I was waiting for this.
I mean, he's averaging 40.
Great pick, Tony.
48.7 yards a punt, and he's had 17 with inside the 20. He's had a long for 63 yards. He's been consistent. He's a fossil guy. As far as trust goes, I'm about as confident in him that he's going to go out there and flip the field and do his job as anybody on this team right now. And he's top 5 at his position in almost most statistical categories. So I feel full trust in Brian Anger.
You know who actually really, really appreciates this? Pat McAfee appreciates this. For the brand, you're taking Brian Anger. I'm with it.
You know what, Tony? There are 3 phases to the game. And just because you don't score points doesn't mean you don't have an important job. I don't know if anybody knows this. Brian Anger, you mentioned for the brand, Sturch. Brian Anger is the source of Rich Eisen's Punters Are People Too line. It was the drafting of Brian Anger by the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2012 that caused Rich to say that during the draft coverage. Interesting pick, Tony. You got to get a little interesting here at this point in the game. I do think he's very reliable. He's very trustworthy. That is the point of the exercise. Hey, all right, good job. Tom. Oh, Dan, you have your hand raised.
I just want to know it. Can I trade for Tom's pick? Since he's just gonna.
What do you think he's gonna waste it?
Anyway.
He's gonna waste it right here and now.
Yikes, Tom!
This has got the making of Greg the Leg more than anything else right now. Go ahead, Tom. Wrap it up.
I don't need to tell you that you really need to redeem yourself here.
No, I don't.
So
I have no intention of it. But I do want to compliment Tony, because I was trying to figure out how to get Brian Anger into the conversation without making him my pick, because I think we need to acknowledge what he has meant for this team on special teams. But
okay,
I'm going to go with someone who has missed some games and who is really just someone I trust in one specific thing, and that is, if somebody comes after our quarterback, I trust Lyle Collins to have his back and make a stand for him. Hey, it's Mr. Irrelevant in this draft, so I'm going for him.
Tom, you have literally chosen a player who was so untrustworthy that the Dallas Cowboys themselves, the team that we are discussing and analyzing, lowered him on their priority list and started Terrence Steele over him several times. You're right. He went after, somebody in the name of, defending his quarterback, which is noble in certain respects. That grade the pick, Dan. How do you feel about this? You threw up your fists when Tom started picking.
I was hoping he was going to say someone else. But no, I would think that's Tom's best pick.
X Siege says Tom's picks are good, so you've got some fans.
Tom, you've got a crazy great burner account that's logged into YouTube right
now.
Okay,
no, they're just people out there whose minds are as weird as mine.
That is definitely true. Yeah, Tom, he was suspended this year, and you're.
I sure as heck trust him.
All right, so I'm going to say, before we put all of the groups here up on screen for us to decide who had the best class, who had the best overall pick, if one of you would like to have a repick, you have to take one of your players off and you can pick somebody else, but you have to persuade me. You have to convince me why you are deserving of this. Aidan, are you interested in repicking somebody? Who and why?
Yes, please. Just because I did panic after the Dan Quinn thing. I know I still stand by that Tyron Smith's a pretty good pick. He wasn't the best pick in that instance, but I still stand by Tyron Smith. I will say I trust Osa Odigizua so much more than Tyron Smith, just because week in and week out, defensive interior players don't get a lot of love. But Osa has been showing out all year, and I know he doesn't have the sacks, but he's helping out in the run game. He's been, my money, easily the second best rookie we have this year. And if not for Micah Parsons, I think Osa would also be getting a lot more love. So I'm taking Osa Odigizua.
Nicholas had been all throughout the chat saying, no Osa, this is terrible, this sucks, this is awful. Said, I'm disappointed, no Osa. Just said Osa is the man. Aidan, I will allow this because we need to give Osa Odigizua some love. Anybody else interested in amending their picks? Tom, you thankfully have your hand raised.
Yeah, because the last one I did as much for fun as for anything.
I
just wanted to have a little fun with it. But
just the last one.
If we're going with somebody that you trust to be there to get the job done, to not get noticed in a job that when you're not noticed, it's usually a good thing, I would really say Tyler Biotish.
You've been singing his songs all season long, Tom. You've been kind of king of his fan club. That's a better pick. I mean, certainly, Tom, I don't know. Okay, so that's your official third pick. Everybody else is satisfied with their picks. We're ready to put it to the crowd to rate, review, and discuss. We're all good. Okay, speaking of rating and reviewing, everybody, subscribe to the Blog on the Boys podcast network. Leave a rating, write a review. Those things help us out. All right, so we will go in order. Dave Sturchio, and if you are with us live, please tell us your top three analysts in order. So your first choice is who you think did the best. Your second choice is who you think did the second best. And your third choice is who you think did the third best. You leave off fourth and fifth. Sorry, somebody and Tom. Okay, so here we go. Sturch, your picks were Micah Parsons, Ezekiel Elliott, and Tony Pollard. A very solid crew. You did have the first overall pick. Micah's really carrying this. You were very proud of the Zeke pick. You defended it well. The Tony Pollard pick was fantastic, especially as long as you had to wait. Great job by you, Sturch. Dan Rogers, you had Zach Martin, Dak Prescott, and CeeDee Lamb. I don't think anybody's going to question your choice of Zach Martin. Obviously, he's been a pinnacle of trust for a long time, but there are some warts there that have developed certainly over the course of the last, year, 2 years-ish, so to speak. Dak Prescott, you're right. We're all prisoners of the moment. We're all spooked. We're all scared, but that could be the lottery ticket pick, of everybody's picks, obviously. That could make you look like a genius. CeeDee Lamb, not really trustworthy this year. Definitely awesome. But, if he's your worst pick at the end of the day, I think you're doing all right. Aidan Davis, you went Amari Cooper, Trayvon Diggs, then got the mulligan off of Tyron Smith after you tried to cheat and go Dan Quinn and took Osa Odigizua. This is a very well-rounded group, and you really sold a lot of people on the Amari Cooper selection. It was awesome for you that Trayvon Diggs fell to you in the second round, but you were picking at the best spot, so I helped you out. No big deal. Tony Catalina, you are the heavy favorite coming into this. The number 1 seed. You have DeMarcus Lawrence, Randy Gregory, and in the surprise of the century to some people, Brian Anger as your 3rd pick. But the game, again, was who do you trust the most? Brian Anger is very difficult not to trust at his particular job. Tom Ryle, seriously, and in full consciousness, took J-Ron Kearse first, Dalton Schultz second, and after amending it to take Lyle Collins out, settled on Tyler Biadasz. Tom, I will give you full credit for the Tyler Biadasz thing because, again, you have been championing him all season long. Those are our 3. Let's take a look at how everybody feels. Siege has Aidan as their first overall group, has Tom as their second, and Tony as their third. No love for Sturch, no love for Dan. There is love for Sturch, however, from Nicholas, who went Sturch, Tony, Aidan. Dan, sorry, you are getting no love here. I Bleed Blue 365 says Tony number 1, Dan number 2, Tom number 3. So Tom, you gotten a lot of votes here.
This is all sympathy. I don't want to hear this.
I think we attacked him too hard.
Let's see here. By the way, Carlos says Tom framed to peer pressure on the Osa pick, although he is deserved. I think, Carlos, you mean Aidan. Oh, no, Tom was the one who – no, Aidan took Osa. So I don't know who you're chastising here in this particular moment. But is anybody noble enough to say, you know what, so-and-so had the best draft? Does anybody want to come to the defense of somebody else a la Lyle Collins with Dak Prescott? Tom.
Yeah,
Tom, by the way, Link just gave you the number 1 vote. Link went Tom, Tony, Aidan.
Okay. To me, the fact that Dave got to pick first and got Micah Parsons, Micah has just been so incredible this year. I have to give him props for that one. And, I kind of understand his logic on the running backs, especially Ezekiel Elliott, because that man's going to be out there unless they chain him to the bench that they ship in for an away game.
Good call.
So, that Micah Parsons though just carries it. He's such a home run. I think that was a great. It was obvious. It was just who could pick him number 1.
Roboto-chan says number 1, Tony, number 2, Sturch, number 3, Aidan. By the way, Carlos did say that he meant, you, Aidan, so no worries there. So Tony, you're getting love. Tony, how are you kind of surprised you're not getting all the love, Tony? Because after the Randy Gregory pick, it was like, this guy's got this sewn up.
No, because honestly, all my peers, I understand their whole,
all my
Tom,
peers.
maybe.
Look at you guys hear this? He's caping to y'all. He's already,
politician here.
I would have to say, as much as the punter pick, Brian Anger, but that being one of the riskier picks in the 3rd round. So if you want to, there was a couple guys still on the board that nobody was giving respect to. Michael Gallup wasn't touched. Like that's the kind of guy that he wasn't on there.
Roboto-chan just said that. Someone should have picked Michael Gallup.
If you would, honestly, if Tony would have picked Michael Gallup in the 3rd round to stack with Tank and Randy Gregory, it's a runaway. But I think because of the Anger pick, it kind of, people like Tony. I mean, Tony's a likable guy. You know what I mean? So I think that's why people are siding with him. I think the I Bleed Blue guy, I might have pissed in his Cheerios or something like that. He doesn't seem to like me very much. So I think that's why. I think when I said the running back thing, he was just like, no running backs in this draft. So, it is.
Siege, Tony, just so you know, said Anger is what ruined it.
I just said
so that's a heavy word to throw out. Link Hellfield says Cedric Wilson when healthy. Nobody took Cedric Wilson. Did anybody give any consideration before I unveil our bronze medalist, our silver medalist, and of course our gold? Did anybody give any consideration to Anthony Brown?
I'll say that I was mad Tony didn't take Anthony Brown after he's been championing him all year.
Call him out.
He had the opportunity to take him in the 3rd round, and I was really hoping he was going to take Anthony Brown because it was a good pick, and I was hoping he was going to do it.
Tony, how do you feel? You didn't get your guy. It's been your dude. You didn't do it.
Listen, I can put feelings aside here. You know what I mean? I can speak and think pragmatically. And you know what, Anthony Brown, I don't trust him completely every single game. I just think he belongs there. He does his job, but there are sometimes you're like, all right, well, stop. Turn around and maybe turn around on this pass.
Well, I was just going to say, in I Bleed Blue 365's defense, like he did say that both Zeke and Pollard are both banged up, so it's hard to be trustworthy. I totally, that's a good reason as to why they would fall in the ranks. But like, I'm thinking like down the stretch that they're going to get healthier. Nobody has this injury where it's going to take them out for the year. That's why I think at the end of the day, you need a running game for everything else to work. That's why I'm sticking with it.
All right, we're ready. This is like the end of Mario Party where they like kick the people out and they're like announcing who's going to win. Dan, you have a point.
Well, I just want to say one more thing. I think if we did this thing 2 weeks from now, it wouldn't surprise me if Neville Gallimore made the list.
Good
Because,
point.
I mean, obviously we only have one game to work with, but it was a pretty good game. And this is his second year in the league. So, that's I'm pretty excited about what we might have with Gallimore. So.
Yeah, definitely an honorable mention. I would put Dorrance Armstrong in the honorable mention category as well. So it's tough. You only get 15 guys. So we are ready to award our bronze medal, our silver medal, and our gold medal. There are actually no medals. There's no prize money or anything other than just general pride. So glad that we all understand. The two people who did not medal will not be going to the podium tonight. Tom, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's okay. And that's just, I like the Dalton Schultz pick the least, honestly. I mean, because I don't trust him. I mean, he also has some drop issues. It's okay. It is what it is. But we can always get back to Dalton Schultz being a king. I know Dan has been singing the Dalton Schultz songs forever on Twitter. So maybe Dan will make you feel better. The other person who did not medal, in my humble opinion, as the host and the judge, the jury, and the executioner here, this might shock some people. I don't have Tony on the podium. Tony, the Brian Anger pick is tough, man. And the DeMarcus Lawrence thing, I trust DeMarcus Lawrence a ton, but the sample size is so small right now. That's not to say look, I believe in him. I hate the people that cry about DeMarcus Lawrence on Twitter, but I mean, you didn't even take Randy Gregory with your first pick. Randy should have been the first pick. And so, the fact that you overlooked Randy is tough for me to get past.
I was playing the long game. I understand what it was here. I knew what was going on. I took the choice.
You know what, Tony? But we'll have an after party. Everybody here. We'll all we'll figure this out. So that being said, and shout out to Tom and Tony for being so gracious. The real crime was having a letter that began with the letter T. In bronze, Dan Rogers. Dan, I think your draft, we are definitely all spooked by Dak Prescott. You have the best offensive lineman on the team. You have the franchise quarterback who obviously should hopefully regain his status as one of the best in the game. And you have somebody who has the talent to be the best wide receiver on the team in CeeDee Lamb. Granted, he has been somewhat untrustworthy over the season. I think on an aggregate scale, you beat out Tony. Sorry, Tony. We love Brian Anger, but that really weighed you down as well. Dan, your thoughts? How you feeling? You bummed about bronze? You happy to medal? Where you at?
No, I think that with the stock of Dak Prescott right now, that I'll take bronze. But I think that in time we might come and look back at this draft and said, what, this was one great draft. So it's I just let things play out.
All right. Anybody have any thoughts before we hand out our gold medal? Do you want me to announce who won gold? Is that what we do here? Or do we announce silver and let there be an awkward moment? Like how should we handle this? No, nobody has any thoughts. Who should win? Dan, who should win? Sturch or Aidan?
It's just between those two.
That's the game. Yeah.
Oh man. See, it's kind of unfair with Sturch had the top pick, and I'm gonna go with Sturch.
Tom, who should win?
Yeah, I've already made my case. I give it to Sturch. Tony,
who should win?
I know who really should win, but if I had to pick these two, I'm gonna go with Sturch. Clean sweep.
Now listen. History has said, and according to Troy Dudley in the chat, RJ is going against the board, so the panelists all picked me. So this just means this is a layup here.
Our gold medalist this evening Dave Sturchio, everybody. All right. Tom set it up. I mean, he had the first overall pick. And that's, guys, pay attention, because if you shine early in the chat, you get the points, and that puts you in the lead for what's to come. All right. It's a long game. Tony, you want to talk about playing long game? You were asleep at the wheel to start things off. Maybe you could have had the first overall pick. But Sturch, it's so impossible to look past Micah Parsons, one of the very best players in the National Football League. I know I gave you a little bit of grief for the Zeke pick, but I mean, if there's one dude on this team who's going to die out there, it's obviously him. Tony Pollard with your third pick. Yes, the injury scares us, but that's really the most untrustworthy thing of your entire group is Tony Pollard's injury. And so I think top to bottom, you got it. Aidan, your thoughts on the silver medal before Sturch, takes his place as the rightful winner here. Your picks: Amari Cooper, Trayvon Diggs, Osa Diggs. You had three great contributors, just not as good as Sturch's.
Yeah, what I'll say, I think Tom deserves. Sorry, not Tom. My bad. I want to give Tony my honorary silver. Because I do think he had a better draft. But I will say, if you had let me take Dan Quinn, I then would have put myself in goal.
Well, yeah, that's like saying if I would have let Sturch take 3 Micah Parsons, nobody would have had to pick. I mean, so. Tony, do you feel like you should take a silver medal? Do you accept?
I don't take handouts. I lost from the panel, so that's it. I appreciate the sentiment, but I got to take my loss like a man.
I believe Blue 365 says Tony deserves the win. So you do have some support there, Tony. Sturch, your picks: Micah Parsons, Ezekiel Elliott, and Tony Pollard. Congratulations to you, sir. The anthem of Dave Sturchio playing in the background as everybody watches in approval. How do you feel?
I feel good. I feel real good. I feel surprised that Tony didn't medal. I understand the anger thing, but
man, you guys are all
angry. Listen, we haven't. How many times did we want to Nobody
picked Tony in their draft either. Just saying. I mean,
well, I just again, I'm just trying to be as nice and gracious as I can.
Acceptance speech for you.
All right. So my acceptance speech is that Micah Parsons is undoubtedly the number 1 overall pick when it comes to guys we can trust the most on this Dallas Cowboys team. Because look, going forward, we're going to go on defense as Micah Parsons goes. Where he is on the field will be accounted for by every single opposing offense, which is going to make everybody else better. I mean, yes, the stats speak for themselves. He's sacking every quarterback left and right. I think it was Simi Fehoko who tweeted out he just got sacked on the team plane. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's safe. So, it is a running joke that he's getting to everybody. But again, he's made this defense completely complete. For the first time in a long, long time, we can actually get excited when the defense goes on the field. I know that everybody feels that same way. It's been a long time since we have been able to feel that way. And as far as Zeke and Pollard, look, I'm a firm believer in establishing the run, no matter how many times we get on Kellen Moore for running on first down.
That's a gross way to put it. There are better ways to say that, Sturch. We'll get with you afterwards. Aidan will talk to you in 2-minute warning.
Okay. All I'm saying is I would like to establish the run. I know that we run maybe too much, maybe on first down too much. There's a lot of things, a lot of contributors.
Sturch, but don't do this. I can always re-award this. I mean, lots of love for Tony.
So Micah Parsons is the best linebacker, defensive end in the league. So that's how I'm going to accept my speech. I'm going to do the old Aaron Rodgers thing, give myself a belt, and walk away in the sunset here.
On the subject, by the way, everybody listening or watching of Micah Parsons, we will have a special video on the Blog on the Boys YouTube channel examining his case for Defensive Player of the Year. Aidan worked something up for that as well. So be on the lookout for that on Wednesday on the Blog on the Boys YouTube channel. I believe Blue 365 Sturch did say you lost me on establish the run. LOL. That's fine. I feel kind of like Sturch, you're the Cowboys beating Washington for me now. Like, I feel bad about this. With that sentence there at the very end. You know what?
Hey, Sturch, a win's a win.
You know what?
You would think on Cowboys Twitter, which is, again, I've said it a million times, it's a very dark place sometimes. You would think on Monday morning that the Cowboys lost to the Washington football team based on how many people were talking.
You know what, Sturch, though? I make the rules around here. The gold medal goes to Tony Catalina because Sturch offered establish the run. How could you not? DeMarcus Lawrence, Randy Gregory, Brian Angerin III, the great cherry on top. Tony, your acceptance speech.
The great cherry on top, he said.
Listen, I love when, the good things happen to good people. You just And when you're gonna stay the course and things will come your way, and this is how it should have been at the end. And I'm not too prideful to say I'll take this win now.
Congratulations to our medalists here this evening: Tony Catalina with the gold, Aidan Davis the silver, Dan Rogers the bronze. Tom, congratulations on the bright shining smile.
Let the record show that RJ Ochoa doesn't think anything high of Micah Parsons going forward. Just so
I love Micah Parsons.
No. You already.
I hate the phrase "established to run more," though. That's the thing. I mean, that's by the way, X Siege really coming for you. Tom says should have been Tom. I mean, lots.
Tell your best friend to get off YouTube.
We're a weird little group out here.
Okay. Congratulations to both of our gold medalists. Dan Rogers. Sorry, Dan. Dan got bronze. Dave Sturchio, Tony Catalina. The Paisans split the gold medal in the way it should be. Aidan, you got the silver. Congratulations. Tom, you know what? You win a grill. We'll give you a grill, just to give you something, we'll give you a complimentary grill. It's coming your way. It's shipping to you already, so don't worry about any of that. Anybody have any final thoughts? Troy Dudley says Tom got robbed. Tom, maybe you have some final thoughts.
Yeah. Hey, what can I say? You go for the weird, and sometimes you find the weird, and that's just how I like it.
Sturch, the final however many words you want belong to you this evening. Make them good.
Okie dokie. Well, the Dallas Cowboys are headed towards exactly where I said they were going to head a couple weeks back. I said, don't be surprised if there's a chance the Dallas Cowboys could still grab the number 1 seed. And all we need right now is to obviously win out, which is very, very possible given our schedule. And we need the Packers and the Bucs to slip up just once. And I believe that could happen in week 15 in particular, both teams, given the status of Aaron Rodgers and given the status of Tom Brady in the dome. Who knows? Maybe the Saints show up. Who knows? The defense is okay. But the Cowboys are in the conversation, and we've been talking about them being that they're the 4 seed, locked in. That's where we're at. I don't believe that. I think the Dallas Cowboys climb a little bit more. I think Dak Prescott gets right. I think Micah Parsons continues to dominate, and it starts this week with me in the house. That's right. Starts is going to MetLife to go watch our beloved Dallas Cowboys kick the Giants keisters all over MetLife Stadium.
Hit him up on Twitter if you're going to be there at Dave Sturchio. However, Sturch, we were kind of looking for like a walk-off line. That's sort of what this is about, not a big old spiel. But everything you said was sound and valid and deserving of merit.
I don't know how to do that.
Tom, show us how it's done. Give us the final words to walk out of here. Tom Ryle, tonight's true gold medalist.
Hey, the Cowboys are 9-4, and the future's ahead of them. Let's go.
That's how it's done. We'll see you next time, everybody.